Hello and welcome to the Peno channel. I'm joined here again with my bro. We're going to discuss all things Villa. Massive game up and coming up on Thursday night against Ajax as well. So yeah, we're just here to chat and discuss all things Villa. A lot has been going on this week, bro. How you doing? How you feeling? Is life all good?
Yeah, bro, life's all good, man. I'm still buzzing off that Luton win Saturday. I'm looking forward to this Ajax game, man. Ajax, we love playing Ajax, man.
Mad.
It's been a while since we've played a team of this prestige in Europe. So yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone travelling there, have a great time. Stay safe. Know you'll have a proper good time over there, and hopefully we can leave with a victory and set us up in a great position for the second leg. But yeah, before we start, again, if you could like the stream, if you're new around here, please subscribe and also drop a comment on everything we discuss within the pod because there is a lot to discuss. We've got a few people entering. Michael's joined us. He said good evening or good evening, Michael. And also Deontay's in here. He says hi, everyone. Thanks for joining, Deontay. Bro, so first thing, the thumbnail, everything, the title. Are Villa in trouble now? Yesterday, Aston Villa's accounts were released. Um, and it stipulated that there was 119 million loss over the 2022-2023 season, a significant loss than one of the greatest on record currently for UEFA from any club. So, bro, your thoughts on reading this information? Are Aston Villa in trouble?
Yeah, let's just go through the numbers quickly so that we're getting everything correct and we can paint like a picture of people that might not have seen the accounts being dropped. So Villa for the year 2022-2023 confirmed an operating loss of 119 million. Revenue increased from 178 million to 217 million. Wage bill increased from 137 million to 194.2 million. That would have been players like Dendoncker, Durant, Moreno, and our employee rate increased by 9%. So we had 9% more employees on board. So that would have shown an increase in employer wages as well. Profit and sustainability rules allow a loss of 105 million over a 3-year cycle. Villa's cycle from 2020 to 2023 was 185 million in loss, but there's allowable deductees in COVID finances, which is 56 million, and then spending on youth development, women's football. Villa have built an inner city academy recently that I think was around like 13 million, was it, or something? I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but women's football as well, and then youth signings and that. So yeah, that's the picture that's painted. Villa released a statement saying the owners are happy that we've operated within PSR rules correctly, and that this is all part of a long-term strategic plan. So yeah, man, what did you think about it when you read it? I was at football, so I didn't actually get to read it until later on. But I just seen a lot of
Yeah.
people like nervous online and stuff. What were your thoughts on it?
I, I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. The statement coming out from Villa suggests that it's all part of the strategic plan going forward. So I have full faith within the ownership that they're fully aware of what they're doing and how they're operating. As you stated, 190 million loss and PSR states 35 million a year, so 105 million over 3 years. Now, there's a few things that I think will be possible. I've seen that Villa extended their financial year to June the 30th now.
Yeah.
The summer transfer window opens, I think, the 12th of June or the 14th of June this year. So that's an
Oh,
allowable
really?
of 2 weeks. Yeah, I had a look at that. So that's 2 week allowable area. Potentially, there may be some, deals in place already to account for that, just for the 3 year period. So who knows? There might be some accountability there within that. But I'm sure they've
Does
got a
that
number of
also
process.
does
Go on,
that
bro.
also account in Conference League prize money in the case that we do win it?
Potentially, yeah. I think that is the case. That will be but that will be accounted for this season, not you know. So there'll be a number of ways that they'll have operated and they'll get around this for sure. I have no stress or worries within that. I think the most surprising thing was the wage bill. The increase of wage bill was so sharp and quite steep. So there's a number of players. I don't think their Donker surplus to requirements. I think is on 80k a week. There's another number of players in the squad potentially who we might see move on because of that reasoning, due to salary and wage and age as well. But yeah, I have full faith, and I don't believe we're in trouble at all. I think it's to be honest, I expect it to happen because of the journalists promoting the story and expressing it because it's such a high loss compared to other clubs. But I think they're just going off of that and not actually understanding the culture and how the club's being run. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the wage bill is an interesting one because there's genuine scientific studies that show a higher wage bill correlates with better results, and that's why teams are always fine with increasing their wage bill with good players. But the key thing is it's got to be on the right players. Now let's take Dean for example. He's on 120k a week, and this season he's not a guaranteed starter. Last season, he wasn't a starter at all. That kind of process isn't really sustainable. So I think it's more about the correct players, higher wages being on. If you spend big wages on your best players, I think it can be a good, healthy thing, and it can promote success. But when you're getting like rotational players on big wages, I think that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, and they'll have an idea and understanding of that. And I mean, we have no reason to not trust the owners. They made a mistake regarding, Gerrard and Perslow's decision making within that, and they rectified it straight away. Nassif, he fronted the whole decision of bringing in Emery, Monchi, etc., and he rectified that situation. Now he'll be fully aware of the cost that's taken to rectify that, and they'll have pre-planned for this for sure. Whether that's again, we saw the strategy within January of how we operate within the market. I'm sure that will go forward, and that's how we'll operate going forward. The big thing for me, I think it was 89% of our revenue is wage, which is massive compared to other clubs. I think our wage bill in itself is at 8th in the league compared to other clubs. But yeah, the percentage of that of the wage bill, which accounts for the revenues, is like 89%, which is one of the highest percentage within the league. So Chris Heck's been brought in to increase the revenue within the club. He'll be trying a number of ways and finding a number of ways to do that, because that is the imperative thing. Obviously, we'll have the new sponsorship deal next year, hopefully Champions League football as well to go with it, which will be huge factors regarding that. So yeah, I'm not concerned regarding it at all. I just think it gets blown out of proportion because the amount, it's a massive loss. And obviously, with the certain sanctions that have been put in place for Everton and Nottingham Forest of which are going to in due course for Nottingham Forest. I think everyone's on this, clinching onto this, and you see fans of the club saying points deduction, etc., etc. Well, that's not the case because they've had the Premier League have been aware of this from December, so they've had time to check over the books, and they've not punished us. So we've not even been considered for punishment at all. So it's not happening of this season
Yeah,
anyway.
I think
Going
the points
forward,
deduction. I think the points deduction talk is trolling. Like that's
yeah,
just
of
people trying
course,
to just get
it's not
like
understanding. Yeah,
fans. Well, like, it's just one of them ones. I'm not fearful of a points deduction and that. But what I do think it means is the conversation has to be open now with fans to an acceptance of us selling a key player. Like me personally, I thought it was going to happen last summer. So I've been bracing myself for over a year and a half. But now I think Villa fans now need to be a bit more open to the idea of a key player maybe going in somewhere just to ease things. But in terms of FFP itself, like I've heard the rules are being relaxed soon. There's going to be less scrutiny on finances and stuff, and there's going to be more room for spending. So hopefully that can help as well in the future, and we're not just going to be tied for a long time. But
yeah,
yeah,
and profit and sustainability rules are part of the Premier League itself. It's a different way of looking at the finances, and yeah, the Premier League itself will not want another transfer window, as was in January, where how much was spent? I think it was something ridiculously low, but one of the lowest recorded for the Premier League. If clubs are so, you know, looking to refine their books and being very cautious with how they operate, the summer transfer window is just going to be the same. There'll be a couple of clubs who won't be, i.e., the Chelseas, who seem to get away with it, or a Man City, who will be spending. Apart from that, everyone will not want to spend or operate in a different manner because they'll be so cautious of the punishments that can happen. So I think there'll be some relaxing of the rules at some point. It's kind of looking now like FFP was in place to protect the so-called big six sides, in the essence that clubs can't progress. It's just totally, if they're not operating within the means, it's very, very difficult to progress. And if you want to, it's going to take a number of years and a lot of luck with that. You know, recruitment will have to be spot on. You'll have to keep increasing revenue, keep growing the business and the football club. So yeah, I think there will be. You see other fans showing support now, and other fans aware. Obviously, Everton fans, Newcastle fans. It's obvious now. Any team's trying to progress within the league and who are shaking things up, they're gonna. It's going to be difficult to get a clear pathway because there'll be rules and regulations trying to obstruct your course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not worried.
Everton, no, I got no sympathy for Everton. I always say that, like, their spending was ridiculous. Like, they were spending like 300 million, even with warnings and stuff, and they were like way over budget. And they've admitted this. Like, their fans know, they've admitted this to the Premier League, and they've said we accept the punishment.
Yeah, that's the problem though. It's not the punishment itself. It's when you see other clubs and and you question their books who are part of the Big Six, and you see punishment being handed out to teams who are not challenging, who are not up there, who are not really, operating to a higher level.
Who though?
Well, if you see a club like Man City have 115 charges,
yeah,
okay,
but that's different. It's different. No, that's different.
I understand that, though, bro. But I understand it's different charges. But when you see charges of that amount of time, and it's going to get longed out because of the whole law situation, the courts, it's going to get longed out. They're going to deny them. They have denied them, which is understandable. I get the situation. But when you see that, you don't feel like you're playing on a fair playing field. You don't. No matter how, you don't. It doesn't feel like a fair playing field.
Yeah, that's kind of a different point. But I get what you're saying in terms of they can just buy time and buy lawyers. But we can't forget City were found guilty by UEFA. Premier League are trying to look into them now, and City aren't cooperating. So it's just a legal issue. It's just like that's
exactly.
That's more of an argument of the legal system than like football, in my opinion. That's just how it is, and in terms of the legal system. But
no, I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is when other clubs see that, or fans of other clubs see that, it's not going to paint the picture of the leagues being fair. It's not. It's just not. No matter if it's a legal situation, on the general, it's not going to paint a fair playing ground. It doesn't represent that at all. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm not worried in terms of how the club operate at all. I think they'll have a foolproof plan going forward.
I just think if you're talking about fairness, then Everton have got no leg to stand on. Like, they cheated, and they thought they'd get away with it. So Everton, I got no sympathy for. Newcastle may be a better argument with them having to sell players, etc. But Everton got no sympathy for the way they operated.
Michael says, I don't believe we're in trouble as the playing field has changed for us, but I'm sure our money people will have a plan. Agree. Paul, thanks for joining, Paul. He says, hi, Penno and Adam. Owners are comfortable with it, so we won't have to sell. Paul says, Coutinho off. Well, yeah, I think he means Coutinho off the books, yeah, for sure.
Listen, if you can find a club to buy him, then yeah, but that's the problem with Coutinho, isn't it?
Colin says, cheers, Penno, Adam, and everyone. I've got faith in the owners and financial backers, especially when we get that Champions League money. Here's hoping, Colin. Thanks for joining as well, all the way from Chi-Town. So thanks for joining. Michael says, but in saying that, there are a number of things our fan base must take seriously and not get upset. Naming rights, corporate hospitality, and Villa Park be fit for purpose in 5 years' time. There'll be a number of changes over the years, and there are some that agree and some that will disagree. You're not going to get 100% backing of a lot of decisions. So we'll see how the process goes forward. Paul says, back in a few minutes, Adam Penno just put him steak pie and chips in the oven. Enjoy, Paul. Mark says, the football world has changed and the days of hot Bovril at halftime have long gone. You're a Bovril man, Michael. What about you? Are you a Bovril man or hot chocolate or neither?
Hot chocolate, man.
Yeah, I have to agree. Rich says, smash the like button, guys. Cheers, Rich. Thanks for joining. Colin, trying to do my part for Villa in Chicago, turned a bunch of people that go to my bar into Villa fans. A bunch of them have bought kits, sweaters, etc. Got to support the Villa however we can. Colin, that's massive, and I love that. Getting people to support from other parts of the world, the more the merrier, man. So I rate that. Mark says City are a disgrace, and Andy has joined us. Said good evening, gents. Thanks for joining, Andy. Really appreciate that. Michael says City are lacking what they did in legal red tape, which will take years to get sorted. Yeah, I agree with that point. Michael is a big Bovril lover. Not for me, Michael. So yeah, bro. Overall, I don't think we're in trouble. I think you're concluding that you don't think as well, and it's just one of those where we'll have to wait and see going forward. So yeah,
I just think just fans have got to be open minded. If we're gonna go into the conversation of what players could potentially ease the worries, you would be thinking Douglas Luiz or Watkins, who would recoup around 100 million in that kind of figure. I don't think Villa have any other player that's even close to that. Really, I think the second tier you'd be looking at Martinez, Konza, Jacob Ramsey, but then you got these injury issues as well. I doubt he'll be up for sale this summer if depending on how long he's out for. Kamara would have been a player before, but no one's going to buy him. He's going to be injured through till October. And then who else could you really think of? Bailey, after this form, you wouldn't want to sell him, but he's another one that will generate significant money if he continues this. Someone's going to take a punt on him. So yeah, those are like the pool of players you'd really think Villa would be open to selling if the finances did need to be eased.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as Villa fans, the whole Grealish saga, how that went about, I think we're quite numb to that. And you know, clubs progress in that manner. If they do have to sell a player, I'm sure they'll be able to identify a target who will be able to replace them and you know step up in that role. So I'm not concerned. That's all about development and how you build a club. So we'll see what happens. Potentially might not even have to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Even when you look at some of our players, oh man, like Douglas Luiz being a non-English player, staying at Aston Villa, who he had no ties to, no loyalty for 5 seasons. That's like unheard of in modern football. So I do think that's something to remember as well. Like he's been here for a long time, and we're seeing the best of him now. But then there's the argument of that with peak value. Like when does a club like Villa, who has to be sustainable, weigh up the pros and cons? You know.
Yeah, for sure. Andy says, by the way, I told you guys about Digne. He didn't start, but his winning goal was quality. It was a brilliant header. And the two subs coming on, Moussa Diaby and Luca Digne, coming on and salvaging all 3 points, man, because it didn't look like that was going to be the case. Paul stated, I would sell Cash and Digne plus Morena. I will see, man. There's a number of players that I think a lot of clubs will be attracted to. If that is the case, there'll no doubt be sales, but it's whether if it's fringe players or you know, there's a big asset that they're looking to sell. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't think all the deductibles have been taken from the tax, the loss anyway. So potentially it could be reduced. We'll see because I don't think the full accounts have been released yet from Company House. So we'll see about that. Yeah, bro. Positive note and more light. Let's talk about the game on Thursday. How excited are you? And how do you think we'll approach this one?
Yeah, for this game, I think Villa are massive favourites on paper. Ajax have been struggling in the league this season, and I've been speaking to some Ajax fans, and they say this is the most dysfunctional Ajax squad they've seen in like 30, 40 years. So really, really troublesome times for Ajax. However, they do have quality players. They have Brian Brobby up front, who's a really, really good goal scorer, really good at holding the ball up. Great strength, quick. So he's going to be a player that we'll have to watch. And then you make the argument about Henderson. He's probably their guy for leadership and he'll know what playing Villa's about. So yeah, 2 key players for Ajax. But in terms of Villa, if we can go there.
Have you seen the Henderson tracking David?
Oh yeah, it's like, well, that. I know some Ajax fans would have been like, "Who does this guy think he is?" As well, like thinking that the football they're used to be cheering, like pressing and stuff like that. It's just hilarious.
That was funny.
Yeah, Henderson, funny guy. Henderson's a funny guy, especially what's happened the past year. He's a funny guy, but
he is.
I think if we go there and we play the way we play, we can beat Ajax. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, same on agreement. Massive news: the return of Diego Carlos now into full training as well. So that's another addition to squad, albeit Jacob Ramsey's potentially going to be out for a while. We'll find out at some point this week for sure on the time period. Hopefully it's not too bad and he returns again at some point this season or not in the not too distant future. But yeah, it seems like a recurring injury. I think he left the stadium in a boot. Now, obviously, protected boot doesn't mean it's as serious as first thought. Potentially, you put it in a boot just as a precaution anyway. But yeah, we'll find out this week how bad that injury is. Fingers crossed it's not too bad as well, because again, he was just starting to find a bit of form. Felt like a goal was going to come within that Luton game as well. So yeah, we'll look out for that. But the return of Diego Carlos is massive. Gives us again the option now of, if we revert to Konza right back formation, if I think Pau Torres is in full training, obviously Lenglet's still there anyway, so we could, we can operate we have different aspects and ways to operate with our back four. Going into that three, or it can just still be Matty Cash and Konza, Pau or Lenglet in that side. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how we line up against Ajax. Do you have so obviously last time UEFA Cup, big game in the Premier League coming after that, which we lost, I think it was against Chelsea 1-0, and then going out to CSK in Moscow. Rested a number of players when we went out there. Do you think that similar course will happen? Do you think we'll rest a number of key players, or do you think we'll go full strength?
Yeah, the comparison with that, it was interesting because there's less of a drop-off in our substitutes. I mean, you're looking at players like Moussa Diaby, John Duran, Diego Carlos as fringe players, so the drop-off's not as much. So I think Emery does have more room than Martin O'Neill did them times ago to drop players. So I think we'll see a little mixture. Like, I do think Diaby will start. I do think Diaby will start, but I don't think Bailey might not start. I don't know. He might need a rest. He's played a lot of football. Who knows? But yeah, I think we'll see a mixture of starters, and maybe about two to three fringe players that don't normally start. What about you?
Yeah, I think we'll mix our lineup for sure. I think massive game on the weekend as well. I think we'll go fairly strong, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's one or two changes within that lineup, and Moussa Diaby, Lucadinho comes in. Yeah, potentially a few other players as well. Be interesting to see, but yeah, I won't be surprised with that at all. And I think we have the strength and depth and the quality to get a result out there if we do that. We'll go to a few of the comments here. Andy said, if we make Champions League, there's no way we sell anyone that Unai wants to keep. We need 2 top players for each position. Facts, Andy. I don't think Unai Emery will sell. They'll have a list of who they think, if that is the case, and we do require to sell someone, even if we do get Champions League football, there'll be a list, there'll be a hierarchy of who of importance for sure, and who they do and don't want to. So, yeah, I'm not too worried with that. Paul says, guys, made a mistake. Watkins has 22 goals this season. I think that's in all comps. Yeah, he does. Is it 22 or potentially 21? Ajax have been playing an unfamiliar defensive 5-4-1 formation under the new coach. Yeah, Deontay, so potentially they will line up in that formation against us as well. I think the consensus is that Ajax are quite worried about playing us. Well, their fans have that opinion anyway. Whether the actual squad themselves do, we'll have to wait and see. But we are fancied within the competition. We've been stated as one of the favourites, so we know we need to go out there and set a marker. And it won't be easy. It won't be easy at all, no matter what form Ajax are in, because they're a massive club and they do have that heritage within European competition. But yeah, it will be a great experience for sure. And we have a number of players that have Champions League experience within the squad who'll be aware of situations, knockout football within European football. So yeah, not concerned. Colin says, "Are you guys concerned about playing against a team like Ajax rolling with 5 in the back?" No, I'm not concerned. I think we have the quality within the squad to cope with Ajax. So not concerned. Andy, is Rodgers eligible to start? I'm sure Rodgers is in the European squad. Is that the case, bro? I think
I'm pretty sure Rodgers was registered, yeah.
Yeah.
So Rodgers is called to go. It's Chambers that didn't get registered.
Yeah. Yeah, fact. Mark says, last comment on the money. According to last season's figures, Villa incoming from the Premier League will be a minimum of 151 million, which is very interesting. If all goes well, 151 million will definitely help with balancing the books. So yeah, bro. Lineup. What do you think Uno will go for?
I think we see Martinez in goal. I think Luca Dean gets a start in the conference. Then I think we go Powell. Yeah, I think Lenglet might start then. I think Powell could get another rest,
Mm.
I think Powell could get another rest for Spurs, yeah. Seems as he didn't come on at all. So he might go Lenglet, Konza, Cash, Rogers, Louise, McGinn. Who am I forgetting here? Rogers, Louise, McGinn. Who am I forgetting here? On the right.
No, it's been Jacob Ramsey starting on the left, so it's been
Yeah, so
Louise
Rogers
McGinn,
for Ramsey.
and then
Who am I forgetting in our midfield? That normally plays on the Tillemans.
Bailey,
Sorry, Tillemans.
and then Tielemans is
Tillemans,
second
sorry.
striker.
Tillemans up front, Bailey on, and Diaby on the right. Yeah, I think we could see that.
Yeah, and then Watkins, Tielemans with Watkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be something along those lines. I don't think Pau Torres will be risked. I think he'll be safe for the weekend. So I can see a Lenglet, Konza, Cash again. Or I don't think Diego Carlos will start either. So yeah, I think it will be the back four on the weekend with maybe Luca Dini instead of Alex Moreno starting. Midfield, Morgan Rogers coming in. Mr. Diaby as well. I can see him playing. I can see. Yeah, be interesting. Yuri might not start either. What do you think to both Bailey and Diaby starting?
I'll probably start Yuri, but I'm not against that at all. Because on transition, if they want to play a little bit, I don't know. Depends how they set up. But if we're trying to break down a low block, we might need like Tillemans' cute passes between the lines. But if not, then yeah.
Do you think? I think they might give us that respect because they kind of done what we did to Alkmaar.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think as well tactically, it's just their manager's not one of the best Ajax managers that's been. Like he's a guy that's just there, and a lot of their fans already want him out for Knutsen at Bodo Glim, who they faced recently in the last round. So
who they battered them and were so unlucky.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a transitional time for Ajax. Ajax are waiting to be restored to like former glories at this point. So hopefully we can get past them and see it through. But when teams have like football heritage and they have the stature, there's always going to be that belief from some parts of their fans and just football culture in general. Do you know what I mean? Like they're always, it's still Ajax. It's still a team that have won. Is it 4 European Cups? So yeah, that stuff's always
Champions League winning captain. Yeah, I hear it. And Marcus says, I always say we must be respectful to the name of Ajax, a giant in football world, but I believe in our squad to get a result. I totally agree with that, Michael, for sure. Paul's gone for a lineup. He says Martinez, Digne, Powell, Konza, Cash, McGinn, Louise Tillemans, Bailey, Diaby, Watkins. Very strong lineup indeed. I like that. Potentially Tielemans dropping into the middle as well and McGinn operating off the left. I think he's gone for there. Marcus says Emery has done an amazing job in keeping all the players focused, as players who are not starting can be a nightmare to the club. That's a big fact. Keeping everyone involved, of course. There's a number of players who haven't been getting minutes this season. Callum Chambers come in. Nicola Zaniola now doesn't really get any minutes. He comes on for sporadic periods of time. But just if he keeps everyone switched on and integrated in the squad, and if they're called upon, if they can, produce, that's the hardest thing. And he's done a great job of that so far. So yeah, bro. Anything else?
Just Duran, Carlos being back in training is a big boost.
Yeah,
does feel like even though we're getting an injury update every week, it does feel like we're getting some guys back as well, which is good.
Yeah, it's massive. It is massive, and big games. Every game's a massive game now, and to get close enough to a full squad is good. It's really
How good would it be to see like Duran just come up with like a goal or something? Like he needs that so bad as well, coming back and just, I don't know, just in conference is where you'd think you get the most minutes, right? So
yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Wilmunder's gone Buendia update.
out
I
for the
think
season.
we won't see Buendia Mings this season. Hopefully pre-season they're both back in training. Be great to see that for sure. But yeah, bro. Anyway, everyone, thanks for joining us. If you could again like the stream, subscribe if you're new around here, and drop a comment on your thoughts as well. You know, the discussions regarding the game against Ajax on Thursday, our current financial situation as well, and any other comments regarding Villa. Drop a comment and I'll respond to those as well. Really appreciate you all joining tonight. Great comments as always. And thanks, bro. Up the Villa, and hope we get that win in Ajax. Up the Villa all.